Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Hellhound. Welcome back to the Horror Metal channel. I'm going to do another tag video. This time it's one created by MovieReviewTime. This is the horror sequel tag. I was tagged by Sean Erschen, and I try to differentiate as much as I could from his answers. We have a lot of the same answers as always, because great minds think alike, all that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, question number 1. What's your favorite horror sequel? Well, that's an easy one, considering Evil Dead 2 is my favorite movie of all time. That obviously makes it my favorite sequel. My favorite movie is a sequel. I never really thought about it that way before. I mean, obviously I knew that Evil Dead 2 is a sequel and it's my favorite movie, but it never really dawned on me that my favorite movie is a sequel. One second, the lighting here sucks. Okay, that's better. That's a lot better. Alright, anyway, question number 2. What is the worst horror sequel? Well, immediately, Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation comes to mind. I think that's the worst of like, the big four slasher movies. It's worse than Freddy's Dead. It's worse than Halloween Resurrection. Probably on par with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I don't know. Let's not get into that now. But I think I'm going to go with Return to Sleepaway Camp. I think that might have possibly been even worse. But if I spend more time, I could probably think of a better one, because there's so many bad horror sequels out there. Exorcist 2, Creepshow 3. There's so many bad horror sequels. Pretty much take your pick from any of the Howling sequels. But let's go ahead and go with Return to Sleepaway Camp just to get things moving. Alright, so number 3. What horror sequel is the most underrated in your opinion? Well, again, the first one that comes to mind is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which I think is really underrated in the horror community. A lot of horror fans bash it, which I've always been surprised by. I always thought that it was well regarded in the horror community, but recently I've seen a lot of my fellow horror fans seem to hate it. But since that one seems a little more divisive, a lot of people I know probably know about the same amount of people who also love it, so instead I'll go ahead and go with Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning. I think that one's a better fit, because that one always gets a lot of crap, and the only reason is because Jason's not the killer. Which, yeah, that is a huge problem with the movie. It would have been better that Jason was the killer, but other than that, I think the movie's great. It's one of the most entertaining in the whole series. It has some of the best kills, best gore, most fun characters. I think it's highly amusing. I love it. I'd also go with Part 8 as well, Jason Takes Manhattan. Yeah, I said it. I think that movie's underrated as hell. But yeah, alright, so moving on. What horror sequel is the most overrated in your opinion? Definitely Wes Craven's New Nightmare. I don't hate it. I don't even really dislike it. I just think it's not nearly as great as everybody says. It gets overly praised. People always say it's their favorite sequel. It's their favorite entry next to the original. Some people even say it's their #1 favorite. And like, really? Better than Part 1 and Part 3? I mean, to each their own. I didn't really like the concept. I don't like that all the movies are movies, and Freddy's, just a fictional character in a movie, and that's how it is in real life, but I don't want to see that in a movie, really. I just don't like the concept. I don't like that whole, I don't really like that whole idea, but I guess it was necessary after Nightmare on Elm Street 5 and Freddy's Dead, which were very underwhelming sequels. I guess that was the next necessary step to kind of start over in a way, but, again, it probably is one of the better Freddy movies, but I don't think it's nearly as amazing as everybody makes it out to be. So, but it's not bad. But I'd say it's definitely overrated. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Number 5. What is the best death scene in a horror sequel? Sean Erschen had the same answer, but I completely agree, and I can't differentiate because I've always thought so, and that's that would be Michael Myers drowning the nurse in the hot tub from Halloween 2. He grabs her head, shoves it in the hot tub, her flesh starts melting, and he boils her head in the hot tub. And for all those people who wonder, how come Michael Myers' hand didn't get damaged? Her face got burnt, but his hand remained intact. I don't know, maybe it's because he's freaking Michael Myers, he can survive getting shot 6 times. I mean, yeah, I guess there should have been, like, some burns or something. It might not have hurt him, but, he's Michael Myers. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the best death scene in the sequel. I love it. There's a lot of great ones in the Jason movies too, but we're going to go with Halloween 2. Alright, question number 6. What horror sequel had the best gore effects? Day of the Dead comes to mind. let's go with Bride of Reanimator. Yeah, I'd go with the original, of course, but this is the sequel tag. We're talking about sequels, so Bride of Reanimator had great gore effects. Very bloody movie, very gory, and great special effects and makeup. So that's my answer. I tried to come up with one that not a lot of people might say. So, all right, moving on. Question number 7: What horror sequel did you used to love? What horror sequel did you used to hate, but now you love? Well, I would say H2O, but I never really hated that one. I just thought it was one of the weaker entries. Now I really like it. Now it's probably my 5th favorite, next to 1, 2, 4, and the recent one, the 2018 movie. It's probably my 5th favorite. And I used to rank it way lower. I used to not like it very much, but I never really hated it. So let's go with Jason X, because I flat out despised that movie. I loathed it. I thought that it was like by far the worst Jason film, and I still think it's like nowhere near one of the best, but I think it's awesome. It's proud of what it is. It's not ashamed to be what it is. It's a very fun movie, and it's Jason in space, and he becomes a cyborg. I mean, they don't take it seriously, so I think it's a blast. So, yeah, I used to hate it. Now I love it. In a so bad it's good kind of way. Guilty pleasure kind of way. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but those movies were never Shakespeare in the first place, so come on. Now, question number 8 is the opposite. What horror sequel did you used to love, but now you hate? I spent almost half an hour trying to come up with an answer to this one. I really don't know. You have to come back to me on this one. Now, I remember liking some of the Amityville sequels past Part 2. I remember liking some of them a lot more than I do now. That I recently checked them out. I thought these are crap. Ditto with most of the Children of the Corn sequels, but I don't really know if there's... Usually once I love a movie, I don't ever start hating it. There might be movies that I don't think are as good as that I thought were good, and I rewatched them only to find that they weren't as good as I thought they weren't as good as I remember. But I don't really think there's any that I loved and then hated. So, I don't know. Maybe this... I would say the Scream sequels, but again, I don't hate them. I just don't... But then I don't think I really ever loved them, per se. So yeah, I really don't know. That's a tough one. Most of the horror sequels I hate, I never loved in the first place, like I said. So, yeah, I really don't know. I got nothing. I guess just go with... let's go with Amityville 3D, I guess, just to get things moving. But I don't think I really loved it. I just... and I don't really even hate it either, but I remember the first time the most recent time I watched it, it wasn't, I didn't think it was as good as I did when I first saw it, I guess. I don't know. Let's just go with that to get things moving. I'm sorry, I can't think of a proper answer, but let's not spend too much time on that. Maybe if I think of one, I'll leave it in the description. I don't know. And the final question number 9, what horror sequel had the best ending? Well, I was going to go with Child's Play 2. I love the climax and the toy factory and the doll factory. I love when they melt Chucky with the plastic, the liquid plastic, the hot liquid plastic that comes out of the pipe or whatever, and then they blow his head up. And I love that whole finale. The whole thing, the whole part in the whole climax of the toy factory is just awesome. But if you're talking about like an ending, not a finale, but like the final frame, like the note that the movie actually ends on, Sleepaway Camp, but that's not a sequel, so, and none of the Sleepaway Camp sequels had a great ending, really, so not anything too special. So let's go with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers, when Jamie Lloyd stabs her foster mother to death, and then she's standing there with a knife all bloody, and Dr. Loomis wants to shoot her, but then the police won't let him, and he's like, no, screaming no, and then it just ends, like in that final frame of her standing there holding the knife, looking all evil in the blood, and yeah, I didn't see that coming the first time I watched it, so that was really threw me for a loop. So let's go ahead with that. I can think of a lot of great endings, but most of them aren't sequels. So let's go ahead and go with Halloween 4. But yeah, all right, guys. Well, this is a great tag. Movie Review Time did a great job. Check him out if you haven't already. Subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to Sean Ershen's channel. He's the one who tagged me. Also, check out my previous video. The top 5 directors, which I made it into a tag, and I want to see everybody's responses to that, everybody in the horror hangout. Sean Erschen already made one. I still want to see Bronco Juggalos and Dave Maggots and Horror Miser Monty G and Hervey Nightmares JM and Queenie Todd and Lisa Loves all them and anybody who wants to do it. Anybody who wants to do it, really. Adeline's Universe. Anybody who wants to make that video, go ahead, because I'd love to see it. Let's talk about some great directors, and stay tuned for my top 5 best Italian horror directors video. I'm waiting for a few DVDs to come in the mail for that one, so it might be a while, but that's the only one I have planned for right now. Alright guys, I'm Hellhound. Thank you for watching the Horror Metal channel, and until next time, keep it horror.